This is the story of two kids named Zainab and walaa and how they added their chemistry project and caramel apple into one. Walaa one day asked Zainab if they can make caramel apples, but Zainab was too busy doing her project on matter and its properties. Walaa asked her, why not just add the two together? Zainab thought it was ridiculous to make a project about caramel apples, but later on thought it was a great idea. Walaa then asked Zainab what she needed to know. Zainab said she needed to know the difference between physical and chemical properties. She later found out that a physical property is one that you can observe without changing the composition of, and a chemical property is one that needed to be changed in order to be observed. A physical property would be like the texture, hardness, odor, sound, and how it would be like density and melting. A chemical property would be if it was flammable or non-flammable, and if it dissolves and how it reacts. Walaa then said that he remembered something else that had to do with chemical and physical. Zainab said that indeed there was. It was called physical and chemical change. Physical change is when something changes physically in appearance, and chemical change is when something changes into something completely different and is no longer what it started as. For example, the physical change is like how the apple on the stick turned into simply an apple on a stick with caramel. And a chemical change is how the apple on the stick changed into an apple on a stick, but it is now rotten. This is when walaa got confused about what they were doing and asked, Zainab, matter is matter and caramel is caramel. How are the two alike? Zainab told walaa that the caramel goes through 3 stages of matter, and in each stage, caramel goes through a different arrangement of molecules. In the solid, the molecules are all tightly packed together and vibrating. In a liquid, the particles are not tightly packed and loosely scattered, hitting each other in movement. In the gas, the particles are just scattered all around. Walaa then asked her, if those are the 3 different phases it goes through, how does it melt? Well, in our view from our eyes, which is kind of like the microscopic view, it just melts. But inside the caramel, which is more like the microscopic view, the particles start to vibrate on one another and collide from a vibration kinetic energy to a translational kinetic energy. The more collisions, the more molecules transfer, making them equal, which will then melt it from a solid to a liquid form, making the hard solid into a smooth caramel that can be coated onto the apples. At this point, walaa understood how the solid goes to a liquid form, but then he wondered, can the same thing happen to the other 3 stages? Like how, would this be able to go from a liquid to a gas or a liquid to a solid? And Zainab said that it would, and it would be called conduction. However, conduction works best in solids because the molecules are more tightly packed together. It works best in the solids because the molecules and atoms are more closer apart, so the heat would be able to transfer easily. In the gases and liquids, the particles and atoms and molecules are farther apart, so it's a lot harder for the heat to get transferred. This is when Zainab started telling walaa about attractive forces. Attractive forces all happen in the 3 states of matter, but they are different in each state. They are all drawn to each other because of the intermolecular molecules, and they're keeping them drawn to each other. In the solid, for example, it will be the strongest because the particles are vibrating off each other 24/7. Unlike the liquids and gases, the particles will be roaming freely and aren't getting the same support. Because the molecules are always together, they're always helping out. It can easily be seen that in the liquid and gas, the molecules aren't closely packed together as they are in the solids. Zainab then started showing walaa the different types of molecular images, how it would be in solids, liquids, and gases. Once again, in the solids, the molecules are tightly packed together and vibrating off each other, so it's the best at conduction. In liquid and gas, not so much, because in liquid and gas, they're more freely apart, gas more freely than liquid. At this point, you will see the 3 different types of how the molecules act at boiling once it reaches boiling point. In the solid, liquid, and in the gas. However, the molecules act just a little bit different once they reach their freezing points. However, it is still the same, different with solids and liquids. In the liquid, they aren't as closely packed tight together like the solids, but they're still closely packed together. Overall, with conduction, it is obvious that solid is the best because the molecules are more closely packed together, unlike the liquid and gas. So, once again, solid is the best at conduction. liquid and gas just wouldn't work. So overall, this is how the three states of matter act when they go through conduction. But overall, you just melt the caramel and coat your apple. And that's how you get caramel apples. We hoped you enjoyed.